Because there's just innumerable places that you apply these things. Okay? Yes?
You mentioned spirals.
It's all spirals, but yes, what aspect?
What about them? Where do they fit in?
They fit in everywhere. Everything you're doing is a spiral. Everything. Okay, so you saw Popkin Sensei punching. Was that a linear punch? This looks like a straight line. Of course, the vector will be going that way, but how did he do it? He spiraled. Okay, and eventually, he just did a nice one where he did it in the horizontal, just to show you that the power was coming from here. But actually, when we spiral, not only is there a horizontal, but there's a vertical. I could put it up, I could put it down, depending on what my wanted to go up, it would go there. If I wanted it to go down, it would go there. Does his butt go out? So the horizontal, but then there's the vertical. It's going any direction I want it to go. And that's how you can use your atemi to shape the technique. But everything we're doing is a spiral. Right? Anytime it's not, the less spirally you get, the fewer vectors you're running. The fewer vectors you're running, the closer you're getting to where their brain can figure out what the hell you're doing. So anything you do that's linear, easy for them to figure out. Pushing and pulling is linear. Okay? That's why I'm saying I'm not pushing and pulling. It's like, if I push this arm out, he can pull back. If I pushed it in, he can push out. Clearly not working. What's in between that? I'm actually extending this way. I'm not going that way or that way. I'm going this way because this is what keeps him out of my face with that other punch. This is not anything about the arm. I need to own that space because if he can come around like this, he can hit me. So that's the function of this touch, is to protect me. Okay? Then if I want to move him, that's all happening back here and back here. Okay? I can... you don't move the contact point. Okay? Contact point doesn't move. It might look like I'm moving him, but if you look at this relative, am I moving the hand relative to my center? Not right now. I mean, I could separate if I wanted to a little bit, but you're not moving this. Gleason Sensei has a great term for this. He calls it transporting the point. You set up the point, you get your kazushi, then if you wish to transport it, you can transport it anywhere you want. But if you're trying to get kazushi by moving the point, it will never work. Okay? So I'm spiraling all over the place. I'm setting up spiral this way and this way. I'm setting up spirals this way. And if you start fighting that, it's going that way. And then I'm setting up spirals this way, which is the incoming monster atemi that's going to knock you cold. Yes, and the block will be futile. And okay, you see what's happening? There are so many vectors happening simultaneously. He can't figure out which ones to block. Now he can make certain choices. Okay. Wilkins Sensei kept talking about, well, okay, if the guy decided to do this or do that, it sets up certain things. Okay. So he has lots of things he could try. So maybe one of them would be, he's going to try and drop that hand and catch me with that elbow. But what he really just did was told me he wanted an elbow lock. That's okay with me, because that's actually a lot worse than the Dakota guys did I was going to do on him. Okay? He could decide to pull that elbow back, but he gets hit. I don't control the different ways he tries to respond to this, but if it's right, he has no offensive move he can do in a single beat. There's no offensive move he can make at me. The kick here that he could, see, he's got to shift his weight and kick me. If my weight's proper, his weight's on that. Yeah, see, I mean, he tried to shift and I just put his weight on it again. It's like, that's no big deal. Okay, so you want your partner at a certain point in your training, you give him permission to try different things, and then you don't abuse him. I mean, if he tries it, it's like, that's good information for you. If if I was pushing this hand down, which people do all the time, he should spill that hand behind him and be, yeah, why would you push there when you could hit me there?
So,
yeah, you just leave it.
right.
This is irrelevant to me now. The fact that I'm still holding on to that is a really big mistake. Now I have a huge problem. So if I was doing that, why would I get guys? I do it wrong, and they fight me. Why would you fight that? Let it go. You would love it if a guy pushed down on your hand. Push down on my hand. Yeah. Whoa. That's what I was waiting for. But take my elbow down, like we were talking about. I still don't have access. So that's an entirely different thing. Does that make sense? So you want your partner. I mean, basically, if you're looking at this stuff, it's not different than the Jodo. It's not different than Kenjutsu. It is not about doing stuff to this guy. Ultimately, it's about owning the space and controlling the lines of attack. Kazushi is secondary to you not getting hit. I mean, yeah, I really want to eventually resolve this conflict so it doesn't go on very long. But if you're going to throw the guy, but you left such an opening, you got punched out, you don't get to the throw because you're unconscious. It's really hard to throw people when you're out. Okay, so that's what I'm saying is you're really looking at this stuff. It's not about this arm, it's about this space. That's my space.
Right.
If he tries to, occasionally people will do, ha ha ha, I'll throw the elbow. Now, you see that arm? Remember what you do with a drumstick on a chicken? He throws the elbow, I take this slowly, and he dislocates his own arm. You will only try that once, and after that, you know you don't throw that elbow. Okay? Do I give him a hard time about having tried it? Absolutely not, because I actually have to know that some people will do that, even though it's a stupid thing to do. And if you only train with people who are really smart, you can forget somebody might make that mistake, and you might not be ready for it. But this contact point, you start moving around for that elbow, so you have to go around the point to hit me. And as you go, there's... Oh, that was a really bad idea. Never do that again. Okay, see how I'm thinking about this? Okay, so we've got to end now because we're out of time. But there are far fewer spirals that we're doing with the body than there are techniques.
We got 20 more minutes.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to end at noon. Good.
That yesterday, that was so. Then Howard.
I'm confused, man.
It's all Howard's fault.
Okay. Well, then good, because you know what we get? Oh, what were you going to say? Yes.
Maybe flipping back and forth on the two approaches. One appears to be a structural approach with force vectors and applications, and another one is neurotactile responses from key extension or some freaking magic. I don't know what. But you reach in there and you take it to space, and when you do that, they have a response.
It's all one approach. I'm doing different ways of explaining it because there are going to be different people who hear different things. I'm not using one way of explaining it because then you lose the people that level of explanation doesn't work for. So if you're hearing key magic on stuff, forget I said anything about that. Go with the structural vectors and whatever means something for you. Now, if none of it means anything to you, you're really in trouble. And I'm not sure what to do about that. But, I mean, no, there are a lot of different ways you can talk about this stuff. You can get totally body-centered, but there's all this stuff going on with the internal power stuff. But a lot of times those guys aren't talking about the projection of your intent. Simultaneous Sensei makes a big deal about the projection of your intent. Popkin Sensei's teacher is famous for messing with you when you're over there before you even got here. He's messing you up. Simultaneous Sensei does the same thing. So I have to talk about that because otherwise I'm just doing mechanics. You're going to think it's all mechanical. It's not just all mechanical. This is all the different senses. If you want my basic description of Aiki, because I mean, it's embarrassing actually how many Aikido people here they're doing Aikido, the way of Aiki. And you actually define Aiki and they can't. They really can't tell you what it is. They go, oh, it's the way of harmony. Well, that's not a definition. It doesn't mean anything to anybody, okay? But basically what we're doing is we're using our partner's sensory inputs. There's vision, there's touch. There's even sound, which is PI. And there is also the sixth sense, the intuition. Okay, so when you're hearing me talk about stuff and you think it's magical, that's the part where I'm addressing the intuition aspect. Okay? Okay? You're using those sensory inputs to move their mind, so their mind moves their body. You're not moving them, but you are moving their mind, which is why the light stuff works. I mean, really, why should a little gathering of the skin here and some movement over here make anything happen there at all? That seems ridiculous. And when it's done to you, you're going, wait a minute, okay, do that again. And then finally you realize something's going on and you stop doubting it. But initially, you're going, okay, I just didn't give you a very good attack. And then they do it to you again. Okay? And you start to realize, I'm not quite sure what's going on. And there was a book I read, can't remember what teacher it was, I think it was a Daikodyo teacher, but there's a little thing that I've always remembered. He said, if you understand what was just done to you, it wasn't Aiki. So, if what you felt was, you knew damn well what that was. That was George using his physical power, 300 pounds, to haul a guy around and beat the crap out of him. There's no mystery to what went on there. Okay? That is not Aikido. Might even work. I know guys who are really good at that kind of Aikido, and I wouldn't want them getting a hold of my arm and ripping my shoulder out, because they will. But it's not Aikido. Period. It's just not. Okay? It's just powerful physical Aikido. I'm looking for an Aikido that I will be better at when I'm 80 and 90 than I am now. Okay, Sagawa, who was one of the kings of Aiki, he was another one of Takeda's most senior students. Sagawa said he had a stroke when he was 80, he had to do rehab, and then as he started working on all that rehabbing and everything, he said, that's when I got really good. At 80, after a lifetime of doing it. So that's when I got really good. That's what I'm looking for. This stuff, you can refine and refine and refine and get better and better and better at it. If you are operating on the physical level, you will simply degrade, because that's what happens to our bodies. The bodies degrade. You can't be physical like that. So, you know, if you're getting away with it now, it's only because you're young and buff. 90, you're not going to look like you do now. It's just not going to. There's nobody 90 years old who looks like you. They all look like this, you know. So you might as well start developing an art that you can keep developing that way. So that said, I'm only telling you one thing, but I'm using different ways of describing it. Okay. So now, since we actually have all this extra time, we're going to do some dark side stuff. So let's do this off of boxing. We'll do it off a jab, only because it makes it easy to keep track of. I have 6 numbered entries off a straight punch. Actually, one of them works better off a hook, but mostly off a punch. Okay, there's 6 of them. So, and they're all based off my giving him basically the rope-a-dope. Which means when I bring my hands up, they're not on center line like you would if you're a Wing Chun. Because if you own the center line, you're going to get hooks. I actually want him coming up the center line. So I'm cutting off the hook. Why would he hook me? So he's going to come here. Might come low, but he's going to come up the center line. So first one, when he does, just leave it there for a second, like I told you not to do before. The first one, this hip, the back hip's going to release, and this hand's going to spiral, and you're going to go in here, and you're cutting the line. If you rotate your elbow the other way, you're going to get one of those old Life magazine covers they used to have where the boxers were... I need to displace this, so it's actually elbow down, palm up, knuckles coming in. If I get my core going, like Wilkinson Sensei was talking about, yeah, getting them over there. If I go in here, but I rotate enough, that hand will be where the trap is. Okay? So I don't have to go for it. I don't have to move this hand around. As he punches, boom! Oh, look, it's right there. And guess what you have now? Any number of things, but we'll do is EQ. In the law enforcement stuff, we used to call this a straight armbar takedown. I never liked the name because I don't really want to bar the arm. I actually want to go around it. But okay, that's it. We're going to assume you've internalized enough of the go around that you're not just going to reef on the guy's elbow. But all this stuff is under what Sensei calls simultaneous offense defense. This is not block and parry and counter punch. This is one. So he's hit on the first beat. He's being hit at the instant he expected to be hitting me. That'll be true of all of these. Okay? So try it slowly first because it's really a bad idea to figure if he's really punching, it's a bad idea to find out you didn't understand the spiral. So have him hold here and try. And now this really has to go in. If he was really coming at me, I might only need to twist to hit him. Right now he's kind of holding back. See, he's got this in, but he's really back because he doesn't like to get hit. So I might actually have to step in with it. That's kind of the adjustment you make based on spacing. But boom, that time I didn't have to step. Just twist it. He gets hit. There's the distraction. Small spiral EQ. Give it a try. We already talked about this. No hand there. No hand there. It's like dropping. That was a cue. If there was no hand there, this is the motion. That's it. If the hand happens to be there, it will clear whatever's on that line. Just like a weapons deflection. You're not going for the weapon. You're not trying to go block, hit. You're just going boom. But if there's something on the line, it'll clear it. And if it's off the line, you don't care because you're hitting the center. Okay? What if he was up here and he faked me? I don't care because I was never going for the hand. If a fake, that was just a hollow space and I went in. But if he had thrown the punch, it was clearing it. And then I have the technique. Okay? Number two, that was outside. Number two, still outside with the same hand, inside with the strike. Okay? We've already seen this a couple times this weekend. Okay? So, remember that spiral we just did? You can do it here. Whoop! That's cool. I'm doing it on his jaw. Try not to do it on his throat. It's less pleasant. Old time. See that foot? It's in the same line. If I do this and I step on the foot and I take him this way and he can't get his foot up, his ankle breaks. You should know how to do that. You should also know that it's there and not do it by accident. If somebody's ankle's broken with you training, it's because you meant to do it, not because it happened by accident. Okay, so I'm going to not do the foot. But see, it's there. It's easy to pick it up. Keep your chin down. There's the up and down. Here's the around. There's the down. I can do that in one motion, but I'm going to give them time to prepare it for you can. Okay, so this is number two.
Thank you, Sensei.
When I trained with the police academy, they used to teach this as a defensive technique. They say, fix your do. I don't have much of a do to fix, but this punch comes. I'd love that to go. Wilkinson Sensei was talking about this. It's like the physics of this, the more you interfere with it, the more, A, you're losing your own speed, but you're running into their power. You got a guy like that throwing a power cross on you, and you interfere with it at all, you could bounce off it. I don't want to interfere with it at all. This thing, fist is, there's some people I'm working with and they're clearly scared of being hit. Get over it, we talked about that, but it's not that hard not to be hit. This thing's 4 inches wide. For me not to be hit, it only needs to be there. What do I really want? This? To be safe? No. What I really want is this line so I can hit him. We're not doing that right now, but the moment that's there, I have that line. I don't want to be stuck with this arm or dealing with the arm. So the parry is like there. And in this case, I'm actually going to really encourage it to go. He's my friend. See? And while that's happening, I'm entering. Boom, one blow, boom, get down. Okay? 3. Okay? Now, I can set this up for frontal, but I normally don't use it that way because, like I said, my normal position is the rope-a-dope, protecting my head and my ribs with my elbows. This is my basic protection. Muay Thai, it looks more like, you can see something like this, run, because they're going to kick the crap out of you. But anyway, I'm more in here. This is like the old, hey George, you're the champ and I'm beating you up. Okay, so, number 3 is actually the cross handle touch first. And so where it really happens is maybe I just threw somebody here and I look up and this is coming. There's a number 3. Cross hand touches first and the rotation is, okay? So to set this up, instead of the rope-a-dope, drop the hand. So it looks like I'm trying to cover the kick line. And that'll guarantee you he'll come up that line. Right? Yeah. There it is. Boom. There. Boom. Now, since that's going to be a little too aggressive, we will turn this into what I call, in the law enforcement, we took what in Aikido would be an Arimi Nage, but we're supposed to be doing it on people who don't know any Kemi. And so an Arimi Nage would land people on their head and hurt them, and then the cops would be in trouble. So we called this a crossface takedown, which is usually this, forehand. So an Arimi Nage, and it would really be a hit. So he comes up, right in here. If you want to be nice, it's here. And you go, why were you stupid enough to attack me? What an ill-advised thing to do. You can be really nice about this stuff or not, okay? So try that and then we'll end. There was the 1, there was 2, there's 3, okay? 4 is there. Looks like the same thing I did with number 3, except that he's coming with the other hand. So it becomes a number 4. Okay. These numbers are just to help you run through them. If I thought he was coming with this hand, and I was thinking of number 1, and he threw the other hand instead, that was number 4. It's not like you have to go, oh, this is like a computer program, an if-then statement. If he throws the right, no wait, if he throws the left, no, you can't possibly. So I make a decision about how to enter. What he does will tell me which it's going to be, and off of that certain techniques will happen, okay? There's one other thing I wanted to mention real quick. When I'm working the head, like I was doing, there's a thing that I call the magic line. I've never heard anybody else use this term, so this is me. From the hinge of the jaw up under the cheekbone. And of course, like a line in geometry, it actually runs both directions. There's arrows going both ways. This is your weak line. I can push on his chin here, and don't let me push you. And he can be really strong. But if I actually work that line, it's so weak. And so when I took the guy over and put his head against my chest, what I did was I came up here. It's almost like, you ever seen Steven Seagal movies? You know, in every one of his early movies, he slaps people upside the head. They're supposed to smile and think he's cool. He smacked me upside the head and hit him back. Anyway, so he hit it right, but that's the magic line right there. Right there. And then you curl around that line. And you just take a monster guy like this, okay, and take him right over. It's really weak. I don't know enough anatomy to tell you why it's weak, but it really works. So when we're doing a more conventional Aikido, classic Aikido, Arimi Nage, guess what that arm's on? That arm is on that line. You've been working it all along without knowing. So now I don't need the arm, I just have my hands. Okay? So